Now, the Rolex Explorer 2 Polar Dial has never been the most popular watch in the Rolex lineup. For me, it's the most iconic watch because it is just so different from everything else. Now, not everybody wants to buy a Rolex, not everybody can afford to buy a Rolex. So that's kind of where homages come in. And I've looked at a lot of homages on this channel, and there's definitely a difference between a direct copy of a watch that just tosses a brand on the dial and a true homage. A true homage is a watch that takes inspiration from the original without directly copying it. And I think that's what Monterey Watch Company and the Basecamp GMT has truly done. They've taken some inspiration, but completely made it their own. And that's what we're looking at today from Monterey Watch Company, the Basecamp GMT. Welcome to the channel. I'm Chase, and this is all things random, mostly watch reviews with some random stuff sprinkled in between. If you're here, hit the subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And let's get into this Monterey Watch Company Basecamp GMT. Now, when I first saw this watch, I don't even know where I saw it, but when I saw it, it caught my eye and attention so much that I began to obsess like every watch collector does. Whenever you want something, you think about it, you learn about it, you have it saved on one of your web pages on your phone, and you go back and you look at it over and over and over again until you decide to pull the trigger and spend your money. And that's exactly what I did. Spent my own hard-earned money, but this watch is only $300, so it's very affordable, especially in the watch community. Now, when you put these two watches side by side, the Rolex Explorer 2 and the Basecamp GMT, you can definitely see there are similarities, but in no way is it an outright copy. You can see that they do share that iconic brushed 24-hour bezel that's fixed. They do both have GMT hands, and yes, the beautiful white dial on this watch that just makes it pop. But you can also see there's several differences. Yes, they do share the outlined black features, but for the Rolex Explorer 2, you can see that it has the classic Mercedes hands, whereas the Basecamp GMT is different. There's a sword hand for the minute hand and a very large triangle arrow for the hour hand. The GMT hand is red on the Basecamp GMT, which of course on the Rolex Explorer 2 is orange. They both have sapphire crystal covering the dial, with the Rolex Explorer 2, that classic 2.5 times Cyclops eye. But then if you look at the Basecamp, the date wheel is slightly larger, so the date is heavily magnified and just screams out at you on that dial. Now, Monterey Watch Company does offer this without a Cyclops date window if you don't want it. I like it because I just like that date screaming me in the face. I don't have to really look for it, right? Also, side by side, you can see that the Basecamp GMT is slightly smaller, coming in at 40 millimeters in diameter to Rolex's 42 millimeters in diameter. Now, what I found is 40 millimeters for most wrists is a perfect size for generally everybody, unless you're super tiny or you're super huge. 40 millimeters is a sweet spot. Really, it's 39 millimeters, but 40 millimeters is a sweet spot. Now, a lot of people, to include Adrian Barker from Bark and Jack, will tell you that the 42 millimeter Rolex Explorer 2 is big, and it's meant to be big because it's an exploration watch. And I completely agree with that, but not everybody wants a big watch on the wrist. So, whereas Rolex started to create larger size watches like their 41 millimeter, right? They went from their smaller 40 millimeter case to their maxi case, then to their 41 millimeter case, and they've just gotten a little too big. And that's one of the big criticisms I hear from Rolex, is they just wear bigger than they used to prior to the maxi case. So because of that, I think the Monterey Watch Company Basecamp GMT is going to fit most people a little bit better. The case is made of 316L surgical stainless steel, high polished on the side, brushed along the top with a matching oyster style stainless steel bracelet. Now, it does taper down to a proper milled clasp, and the one thing that I love about this that I wish other companies would do is put a glide lock style mechanism on the inside of the clasp. The Basecamp GMT does. Now, if you're going to have a dive watch or an exploration watch you're going to be in weather that is changing. And because of that, your wrist is going to shrink, it's going to expand. So you're either going to have a watch that is slightly strangling your wrist, that's super uncomfortable, or it's going to be too loose, which is also uncomfortable. So you have to have that micro adjustment system. And that is the one thing that Rolex has absolutely done that changed the game, was that glide lock style clasp, but a lot of companies have followed. And it's okay to put a similar system of micro adjustment on your watches, and I'm glad that they did, because not even the Explorer 2 has a glide lock style clasp on it. Now inside the Basecamp GMT is going to be the Seiko NH34 GMT, which is of course the more affordable option. 24 joules, 21,600 vibrations an hour with 41 hours of power reserve. Now this is not a true GMT, but that's really not the point of an Explorer watch. You see, the Explorer 2 was originally designed for cave diving, for exploration outside, for spelunking, right, for being underground. Now, what Rolex did was they took their GMT movement from the Rolex GMT, which is a travel watch, and they put it inside of their Explorer 2. This was more affordable for them than to just create a movement out of whole cloth, because they're all in-house movements. So it was a cost-cutting measure for the Explorer 2. Now, the entire reason the Explorer 2 has a 24-hour fixed bezel is because that GMT hand is supposed to dictate whether or not it's daylight or it's nighttime. It's just a 24-hour hand. But because it was more affordable for Rolex to put the GMT in the Explorer 2, it has that true GMT function, which is great. But I can overlook the fact that the Basecamp GMT doesn't have a true GMT, because that wasn't the original purpose of the hand anyway. It's just a 24-hour hand. So again, it can definitely be overlooked. The Basecamp GMT has a solid case back, 100 meters of water resistance, which of course is perfect for any outdoor watch. Sapphire crystal, like I said, and again, this is only $300. Now, I truly think the Basecamp GMT is a great alternative if you like that Explorer 2 polar dial, but you don't want to pull the trigger of like $9,000. That's completely understandable. And this watch, the Basecamp GMT, I have taken out to the wilderness of Alaska, because that's where I live, in the mountains, and it's a very comfortable watch on the wrist. But you know what would make it even more comfortable? If you toss it on a NATO strap from Chase Straps. Now, I right now am in the middle of revamping my entire Chase Straps website, because I'm offering different watch straps. They're coming in hopefully soon. Right now, I have a herringbone NATO strap that is perfect. Like, I love this thing. It's so durable. I wear these straps at work most of the time, and a lot of you know what I do, some of you don't know what I do. And for me, I just love the look of the black, because the black just adds a pop to the black accents of the black hands, the black minute track around that white dial. It just pops off even more. And I don't know, there's just something about NATO straps. But I also do offer, I don't know if you guys know, other things for Chase Straps. I also offer Italian calf leather watch straps, the highest quality for the most affordable price. Also, I offer accessories, and the holidays are right around the corner. But outside of the shameless plug of my watch strap company, there's something even more exciting in the next video, and that is going to be a review of this watch right here. Now, Exquisite Time Pieces sent this to me to sponsor a giveaway for one of my subscribers. So in the next video coming out in a few days, I'll do an overview of this and how you can win the watch. Now, I'm going to tell you it's going to be unlike any other giveaway I've ever done on this channel, and that's because I want to make sure it actually arrives to a subscriber. So there'll be a form linked in the description of the video when this comes out, and there's a few things you're going to have to do. You're going to have to fill out the form so I know who you are. I know where to send the watch much so I'm not just waiting for a subscriber to message me back or email me back. And one of the things that Exquisite Timepieces didn't even ask, but I'm going to require, is you go on Exquisite Timepieces and actually sign up for their newsletter. They didn't ask for that. I was like, why don't I have them sign up for your newsletter so at least you guys can push out some promos, right, to my subscribers, especially if they're gonna give away a free Seiko. So if you're here, hit the subscribe button, it's free. The next video is gonna be a review of this Seiko that Exquisite Timepieces is sponsoring a giveaway. That's gonna come up. And of course, hit the notification bell so you guys can be notified when I drop these videos. Until next time.